Today, I'm going to be telling you what I think is the #1 most underrated appliance for off-grid living. Let's jump right in. The winter average energy use per month is 706 kilowatt hours. On average, heating accounts for 45 to 50% of the energy used by your house in the winter. If you've ever tried to run a space heater like this off of your batteries, you know it drains them very fast. This unit, or one like it, can consume 1800 watts of power, and your solar isn't producing energy at night in the winter. Now let's assume for a second that that space heater could actually keep your house warm and you wanted to run it all night long. That's 1800 watts times 8 hours, 14,400 watt hours, or 14.4 kilowatt hours. That would require a pretty incredible battery bank to run that all night. And honestly, most of us probably don't even have a solar array that can produce that many kilowatt hours on a sunny day. Think of an astronaut in their spacesuit. NASA doesn't try and change the conditions in space. They make a suit that keeps the atmospheric conditions and temperature conditions that the astronaut needs to survive right around the astronaut. A UFO doesn't try and travel through space faster than the speed of light. It warps the space-time continuum around it through gravitational lensing. Okay, I'm getting a little bit carried away. The most underrated appliance is an electric blanket. This is a queen-size electric blanket made by Sunbeam, and it consumes approximately 360 watts while it's on. And while that may still sound like a lot, it doesn't have to run all night. When it runs, it's warming up, it reaches temperature, and then it turns off. And it'll cycle on and off as needed to maintain the temperature setting that you choose. A quick calculation will show how much power this saves. So we know the blanket runs at 360 watts, but it doesn't run all night. It turns on and off. So let's assume that the blanket will run for 4 hours. That's 1.4 kilowatt hours. Now, if you remember our previous calculation for the space heater, which may or may not keep your space warm, that was 10 times that amount. That was 14.4 kilowatt hours. And I can tell you from experience, I have a 100 amp hour battery bank at 48 volts, and I might drain the battery maybe 30% on a really cold night. But again, if you have a good sheet to put over your blanket or even a sleeping bag, your blanket isn't going to have to stay on very long. In fact, that 1,440 watt hours is comfortably within the capacity of this Bluetti AC200P solar generator and other solar generators of the same or similar capacity. So that's pretty amazing. You can stay warm all night long using electricity with a unit as small as this with no extra battery backup. That's pretty amazing. And whether you live on-grid or off-grid, you should really consider an electric blanket. Not only are you going to be able to stay warmer and adjust the heat to exactly what you need, but you are going to save a ton of energy. So check this out. The electric blanket I got actually connects to your phone via Wi-Fi, and you can change the settings from anywhere as long as you have a Wi-Fi signal. Now probably you're only going to use this in bed, but if you say wanted to set a schedule, you could do that and maybe have it come on when you get home at night or a little bit before. You can change the timer to 24 hours and under so that your electric blanket turns off when you're not using it. And you can change one or both sides on your phone. So select whatever temperature you want. So again, that's pretty convenient, and this is going to save you a lot of money. So for me, this was well worth the price. Just keep in mind, if you are using inverter to run an electric blanket, you want to make 100% sure that you are using a pure sine wave inverter, and it should be putting out power that is at least as clean as the grid. So our blanket is running off this Victron Quattro 48 volt 3000 watt pure sine wave inverter. This inverter puts out power that is cleaner than the grid, and it works well with the electric blanket we got. Just keep in mind, if you are not using an inverter that is pure sine wave, your house could catch fire. So please make sure that you are using a very high quality inverter that produces clean power, if you are going to do this. So just to sum up this video, you can stay warm all night long using electricity and a relatively small battery bank if you use an electric blanket. You're just heating the space around you. That's all you need. You can stay as toasty as you want. If it's extremely cold, get a sleeping bag, put the electric blanket in the sleeping bag. It won't have to run as long. So even if you live on grid, this is a great thing to have in case of an emergency, or even if you go camping and it's really cold, you could run this blanket in your sleeping bag with a simple solar generator. So thank you for watching. Talk to you next time.